Baseball is a game of numbers and legends. Fans of the game cherish the legacy and the records set by their heroes, including slugger Hammering Hank Aaron, who in 1974 broke one of the most revered records in baseball history when he surpassed Babe Ruth's all-time home run record. Students of the game also look back with fond memories at the power and grace of the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, and his remarkable catch in the 1954 World Series. And in 1947, there was Jackie Robinson, who finally broke the color barrier that segregated the sport. He was more than just a great baseball player. He was a cultural icon who blazed the path towards civil rights. But prior to 1947, many of the greatest players in baseball history played in a separate league from the then all-white major leagues. Men like Josh Gibson, known as the Black Babe Ruth, whose tape measure home runs consistently flew over 500 feet. Leroy Satchel Paige, who was said to have won over 2,000 games in his long and brilliant career, which spanned from the 1920s into the 1960s. And the great James Poole Kappa Bell, who was so fast that Satchel Paige claimed he could turn off the light switch and be in the bed before the room got dark. However, none of these legends of the game may have even had a chance to showcase their talents had it not been for another legend of the game, albeit a seemingly forgotten one. His name was Andrew Rube Foster. Foster was born and raised in the Deep South at a time when Jim Crow laws and legalized segregation limited the opportunities of blacks in almost every vocation. Foster, however, had a rare talent that he would use to gain wealth and fame at a time when few avenues were open to him. Simply put, he was quite possibly the best pitcher in baseball history. He began playing professional baseball at age 15 and quickly began dominating the local black teams in his home state of Texas. Soon after, more established black teams were seeking his talents. Even those in the major leagues were taking notice of Foster. John McGraw, arguably the greatest manager in baseball history, called him the best pitcher of the age. Major league owners would have gladly paid the young flamethrower a top salary had it not been for the color of his skin. Sadly, due to poor organization and management, black baseball was not a profitable venture for most. Sometimes, teams could not make payroll, and players often jumped from team to team, even in midseason. By this point in his career, Foster was taking a keen interest in correcting this problem that seemingly plagued black baseball from ever reaching the competitive level of the majors, both in terms of economic viability and consistency. Rube Foster now became determined to fill the void of power that existed in the upper management levels of organized black baseball to right the ship. Like many African Americans during the period prior to and immediately following World War I, Foster headed to Chicago during the Great Migration.
Chicago's black population grows enormously because it's on train lines coming up out of the delta of Mississippi.
Having established himself as a star pitcher, Foster joined the Chicago American Giants, where he also assumed a leadership role as team manager and administrator. Soon, under Foster's guidance, his team was a powerhouse. Inspired by his team's success and to further prove his team's dominance, he now became determined to establish a national championship for the top black baseball teams in the nation. Foster was further motivated by the social climate of the era. Chicago, more than any other city, was devastated by the race riots that plagued the nation. The competition for jobs and housing between blacks and whites, combined with the pre-existing racial tensions, caused the city to erupt in a spree of violence that left many dead and reinforced the malaise that hung like a pall over the African American community. The need to prove his team's dominance and the desire to provide talented black ball players a chance to prove their abilities on a level playing field, Foster now set in motion his plan that would prove to be his greatest career achievement, the creation of the Negro National League. In 1920, at a meeting in the YMCA building in Kansas City, Missouri, Rube Foster called together the top owners and executives of the best black baseball teams across the country to form an all-black baseball league based on the structure that currently existed with the white major leagues, with the season culminating with a Negro League World Series.
Foster understands that if we have a league, if we have a set schedule, if we have championships, that's going to raise and elevate the stature of black baseball. And he makes it work.
With Foster at the helm of the operations, the newly formed league experienced meteoric success, led by the American Giants and the Kansas City Monarchs. Realizing that the financial viability of all the teams in the league was vital to not only the overall success of the venture, but also to promote black ball players as being equal to or even superior to their white counterparts, Foster made sure to share league profits to help struggling teams make payroll and cover basic expenses. As a leader, however, Foster did come under criticism for being heavy-handed and authoritative. He was mocked in both the white and the black press for his management style, and was even accused of loading his team with the top talent in the league to ensure a perennial winner. Despite this criticism, both founded and unfounded, he continued to direct the league for a decade, making it the single most successful black enterprise in the United States, both in terms of its overall financial success and in terms of promoting the talent in the league that would have otherwise continued to languish even farther in the shadows of their white counterparts. By 1930, however, the stress of managing not only the American Giants, but the entire league, combined with mounting criticism, finally caught up to the charismatic leader. After suffering a severe nervous breakdown, he was committed to an asylum where he died on December 9, 1930. Even in the bitter cold December chill, thousands from around the city of Chicago and the entire baseball world waited in a long line to pay their final respects to the architect of the Negro National League. Following Foster's untimely demise, the league continued, but struggled through the Great Depression. Like most businesses in America, the Negro Leagues barely remained economically viable, but because of Foster's will and determination to promote the stars of the league, they continued to gain more and more recognition on a national level. By 1933, an annual All-Star Game showcased the top talent in the league, and the World Series, which culminated every season, continued to draw thousands of fans. Along with the Kansas City Monarchs, two Pittsburgh-based teams, the Crawfords, whose 1936 lineup is considered the greatest in the Negro League history, and the Homestead Grays, which featured home run king Josh Gibson, made many long for the day when these men could showcase their talents alongside white major leaguers. This, of course, was one of Foster's main goals when he first established the league in 1920. In fact, in 1938, Chester Washington, a reporter for the Pittsburgh Courier, sent a telegram to the Pirates manager, Pye Trader, to consider signing the top stars of the Grays and the Crawfords to his major league roster. Under pressure from other white owners, the Pirates declined. Although the Pirates did not take advantage of the opportunity to integrate the game, the day when baseball would truly become our national pastime was not far away. On April 15, 1947, Jackie Robinson made his major league debut. There is no doubt that this day marks the pinnacle of the legacy of Rube Foster that began 27 years earlier. Following Robinson's success, both on and off the field, major league teams were now quick to sign the top young stars of the Negro Leagues, including future home run king Hank Aaron, and the electrifying star of the New York Giants, Willie Mays. In 1981, over 50 years after his passing, Rube Foster was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. His legacy still lives on today through major league stars such as Andrew McCutchen of the Pittsburgh Pirates and Giancarlo Stanton of the Miami Marlins, who recently signed the most lucrative contract in baseball history. Author Robert Peterson best sums up the impact of both Foster's leadership and legacy by stating, "If the talents of Christy Mathewson, John McGraw, Van Johnson, and Judge Kensaw Mountain Landis were combined in a single body, and that body enveloped in black skin, The result would have to be named Andrew Rube Foster.